I lost my mom to suicide when I was 9 years old, and my brother took his life when I was 17. No death is easy, but suicide specifically is like, it's a very confusing death because there's no one to blame.
Grief stays with you. It's a whole new lens. It's like those old school little like cameras that you press the button and like it changes lenses and you see everything so different.
I literally couldn't be around people. I would get immense anxiety in a group full of people. It was very strange. Like I couldn't do dim lighting. I started experiencing panic attacks. Like I thought I was dying.
I appreciate you taking the opportunity to sit with me.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, no, it's an honor for you to even, be comfortable enough, whether you actually are comfortable to talk about it. Just the fact that you're sitting across from me, willing to open up means the world. And I know you've been through a lot already at 22 years old. Mm-hmm. And I would love for you to, mention what you mentioned off the record already.
Yeah.
In regards to your mother and your brother. And if you want to tell everyone what happened, however you feel fit.
Yeah.
Please, the mic is yours right now and we'll get going.
My name is Katie Schlegel. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I lost my mom to suicide when I was 9 years old, and my brother took his life when I was 17. And that was a very strange thing to go through. You know what I mean? I feel like no death is easy, but suicide specifically is like there's not, again, like we were saying earlier, like there's no comparison, but with suicide, it's a very confusing death because there's no one to blame. You know what I mean? It's not, you can't even blame them. It's a really hard battle to understand that. And yeah, I feel like now in my life, it's been almost 5 years. I just turned 22 in June. It's been about 4.5 years since my brother passed away. And when my mom passed away, this is so overly honest, but I couldn't wait to talk about it. I wanted to tell everybody. Like I felt like, it's so messed up, but like that's how I got attention. You know what I mean? I feel like that's how I got my love, was talking about my mother, and people felt bad for me, and my friends' moms, I felt like they looked at me different, and I felt like I got treated different, and I loved it. But when my brother passed away, it was the exact opposite. I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't want to talk about it. I don't think I said his name out loud for 2 years. It felt so sacred. I couldn't say Drew. Even now, it like still feels like very sensitive. But it's been 4.5 years now, and I feel like I've worked through a lot, and I feel like I'm in a position now finally where I'm okay, you know what I mean? And I never thought I would get here. I never, ever thought I would get here. And that's why I felt inspired, It's still intimidating to share, very, very scary. But I feel like it's really important because it's the last thing I wanted forever. It was like, hi, nice to meet you. I'm Katie. Half my family's dead. Like, it was like, or it was something unsaid. Like I would meet someone new and I would leave the room and I see them again next week. And they're like, oh, by the way, like our mutual friend told me I'm so, and I hated that. Like I was treated different. And I'm finally learning. I was so mad and filled with so much rage for the longest time, but I'm starting to learn that I needed treated different. You know what I mean? Like I was going through different things, and I was angry at every single person who showed me kindness, which is so strange.
And that was more after your brother, brother than your mom.
Yeah, I was very different when my brother passed away compared to my mom.
Totally different ages and times in your life.
Yeah, right? Yeah, 17. As I was saying right before we started recording, it was like, it was weird. I should have been worried about, who I'm rooming with in college. Meanwhile, I'm like trying to function as a 17-year-old with very, very, I want to talk to boys and I want to, you know what I mean? Like it was like I couldn't be a normal teenager, and I wish that I had someone to look up to kind of navigate, and see how they did it. You know what I mean? I didn't have any artists to look up to. I didn't know anyone who had been through something similar to that at a young age. And yeah, I feel like not that I've figured it out, but I feel like I've found a lot of peace. Mm-hmm. But I feel like the biggest thing that I really am inspired to share is that like I never thought I would get here. You know what I mean? I never ever thought I would be here. And that's the biggest thing, is that like when people say it gets better, like it actually does.
I've brought that up numerous times, specifically like it can get better thing, and it hits people differently every time. And I think the per prime example is depending on where I've said this as well. It's just, it depends where you're at. Like I'm going to give you people toxic positivity if they're not in a place, because there is that cloud where it's like you're in a place. And how is this going to happen? How am I going to feel better? How's this going to get better? This is my forever now.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my buddy last night. I don't remember if it was like the third beer or the seventh, to be honest, but we were still talking. And
Either way, it was honest.
Either way, it was honest. Yeah, but we're honest in whatever direction we're in. But it was just kind of, it's like a we'll see mentality through at this point in my life, going through certain things from what I've gone through in the past. This is what it is right now, and it might be miserable, but it's just, you got to give things a little bit of time to see how they pan out, even when it's your darkest moments. And I feel like like you said, you didn't figure it out, but you contained it as something you said earlier before the podcast, which I thought was a good explanation of it. And that is very powerful for you to say you were at a place where you didn't believe you were ever going to get out of it, and now you're progressing in one direction.
Yeah.
And I think it's wonderful.
Yeah. I feel like, again, back to whenever I was saying, like, I hated the nice to meet you. But yeah, I hated that so much. Because I wanted people to like me for me. You know what I mean? But I'm starting to realize that it's a part of me, and it's made me who I am, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a fine line between honoring them, but also continuing to live my life for me, you know what I mean? And not for them and in honor of them, but also like continuing on and being like, this doesn't have to be my story. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, feel bad for Katie, like, and people just do things for you. And, you know, it's very sweet and doesn't go unnoticed at all. You know what I mean? Like, very, very appreciative of that. But I was like, I think that I was stuck in a place for a very long time. You were saying, like, with your emotions, I learned to be patient with myself. You know, I was very like, why can't I get over this? Why can't I cry? Why can't I, you know, I was so angry, and I wanted to be normal. Like, I wanted to, my friends, like, you know, obviously drank before I was 21, unfortunately, guys. But it's
we'll
like,
edit that part out, guys, just so, you know.
yeah, off the record. But it's like my friends are getting drunk and like calling boys they want to talk to, and I'm getting drunk and like I'm crying. I embarrassed myself so many times. I'm crying about my dead brother. Like, it wasn't relatable. And I was like, this is me, you know? And like you were saying, it's like we get in these dark seasons, and I couldn't recognize myself in the mirror. Like, I accepted this is me for the rest of my life. I'm never going to have a good career. Like, who's going to want to marry me? I'm a mess. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just an emotional human being. But I realized that my body was forcing me to slow down and to sit with that. And I feel like people don't talk about how much grief takes over your entire life. You know, it's not just, oh, someone passes and they're sad. It's like, it affects how you communicate with people. It affects, you know, now you have anxiety and you can't talk in a group of people. Now I didn't realize how real depression and anxiety really were until I thought it was fake, until I went through it myself, you know, even watching my mom and my brother deal with their own mental health struggles themselves. So, but yeah, I'd say, you know, learning to be patient with myself. And I was thinking about this the other day. It's funny you were talking about our emotions. We're always like thinking about something that's like, you know, out 3 months down the road, or like our minds are everywhere but here, but our emotions are always present and dictated by the circumstances in our life right now. And it's like, it takes a lot of discipline to not overreact.
Yeah, but some of the trouble and what is like those emotions, even though you're saying it's dictating now, we're letting future ideas, which is essentially fear. Like, we're fearing things that haven't happened for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what a lot of our stress is. We're fearing something that either it's maybe something that has happened that maybe could happen again, but it's often just what that 3 months ahead is going to look like. So we're fearing something that hasn't even happened.
Yeah. Now we're getting to stoicism.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, we're getting
matcha, pizza, dead people stoicism.
Yeah, just don't say matcha again, because that shit's still gross.
It's green juice, don't worry.
Okay. That's I actually like that, but again, matcha it's not going to vibe with me. But again, not here for matcha. But the presence thing is such a big deal, and also what you said, how grief stays with you, it changes everything. That's not only just stays with you in the ways that you said it emotionally, this or that. But I liked how it says the way you interact with people. It's a whole new lens. It's like those old school little like cameras that you press the button and like it changes lenses and you see everything so different.
So different.
And it can go any direction. Like it could be very moody. I feel like grief is like a moody bitch where it's just kind of like it could be this, it could be that, and you don't know why you're feeling this or that. Especially in such a developmental part of your life. Like you said, you were
As a
developed.
kid.
You were growing up.
Yeah.
And I can only relate so far as my experience of being 12 and that, but I do kind of feel what you're saying from my personal experience about being given an identity at that age of my life. Is like, oh, David lost his dad in 9/11.
Yeah.
Like that's who that boy is.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
I felt that kind of aspect of like an identity that I was given, as opposed to sometimes you hear people say the identity lost because now they don't have a father or they don't have this or that. But it's like sometimes grief, especially when you lose someone young or the way you did and your brother, it's like an identity is given to you. Like, oh,
Yeah,
that's
I
the
just.
she lost so and so,
Yeah.
and then you have to kind of not escape from that. It's just you just redefine it because then it still is a part of you. Again, it can be,
Yeah.
but then it's like, how do you want to define that experience?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like again after my mother it didn't bother me. Again, I was a kid, so it's like I was actually a child then,
Yeah, you're
but
9.
when I was 17, I was still a kid and I didn't know how to handle that and I didn't want it's so hard to explain the wave of emotions that I went through after he passed. Like I'd say, there's always a story I'd say with suicide, especially like it's not like it just happens. There's things leading up. There's, a whole year, there's 5 years, there's 10 years leading up to it. And breaking out of that with my mother, it didn't bother me, but with Drew, I was so angry because again, me and him were like, he was my soulmate. Like we were so similar, same personality, especially with siblings specifically, like you can't take that away. Like they are with you your entire life. And I was so tight with him and knew all of his struggles and watched him go through all of this. And when he passed, he wasn't very social towards the end of his life. And I was kind of like the Drew whisperer. I was the only one. Like, even my dad was like, "Oh, well, can you check on?" Like, he won't talk to anybody. And I think it's because I spent the time to get to know him, and I had a lot of patience with him. And he obviously battled with his own and was very angry and closed off. And with men, it's not normal, which is why I love that you do this podcast. Because again, like men, it feels like a weakness for them to go through stuff, and it's not. But he wouldn't explain it to you. You kind of just had to read him. And I knew it was coming with him. I told my dad, I told my sisters, I told my best friend. And a week later, he was gone. And
You felt that for like a long time, or just approaching a certain timeline when he did
I'd
it?
say like the month he passed away, I knew. And I talked to him, and I'm grateful. I feel like a lot of people don't get that conversation. But I actually did sit down with him and I was like, you can't. And he made me feel like I had nothing to worry about. And I wanted to believe that so bad. So I ignored my intuition. But again, with the identity thing, it was like after he passed away, it was like I couldn't get away from that. I was so angry after he passed. It was like, because he was so closed off, I was so pissed at every single person who was texting me. You know what I mean? Because I was like, you judged him for this, you talked bad about him. You know what I mean? You left him, you know what I mean? Like I was so angry because nobody understood him but me. But I was mad at the support I was getting. It was so, and then I was mad at myself for being mad at the support. Like I couldn't win.
What do you think that was?
Gosh, that's a good question.
I'm not sure it matters, but I don't know if you went down that path of even trying to contemplate
Yeah,
that.
I don't. I think it was just my love for him is still so deep, and I wanted his passing to be respected more than anything. And I feel like too, especially with the identity thing. It's almost, again, you get treated different, and then these people kind of want in. You know what I mean? Like again,
In
this
the
is such
group,
an overly honest conversation. I'm sorry if I'm a little blunt, but
you have nothing to apologize about.
it's so true. Like people just like they're close with you because they want. There's like a weird sense of clout whenever you lose someone.
Yeah, it's like a little it's like a little grief bandwagon.
It's so strange, but
But
it's
some people go the other way. Some people I don't know what to
I
do, and they kind of show up and don't know how to be there, and then
yeah.
and you can some people might get pissed off at certain people for not showing up and doing this, that, and the other. But I think it's scary for a lot of people. They don't know how to be there for someone else.
Yeah.
I just don't take
Thinking
anything personal. I don't know.
I don't think in general, like regardless, I just in that time I was very angry. Now I'm so grateful for all the support.
But what was that breakthrough? Like, do you any idea of like what kind of got you past the anger or just time?
Um
Matcha.
Matcha, man, matcha and pizza.
It is. That's what it is.
um I don't know. I think that it was a lot of time. I think most specifically, so like the year my brother passed away, I was very numb for like that whole year. I didn't feel anything. I would cry, but I was like, I had something to compare it to. So I was like, I was different when my mom died. I would cry all the time and I was really working through it. And cuz this is so backtracking. Crap, I keep losing my train of thought.
That's
We were
okay.
talking
Take your time.
about
What I was asking about the break, 'cause you said you were angry for a little bit, and then at some point you, I guess, weren't angry at the support you were getting, and I was asking you why, like, or not why, or what was that breakthrough of being so angry, and then you feel like you weren't
it was
anymore.
even before that. I can't remember. We'll come back to
It'll
it.
come back if it's meant to be,
Yeah, it'll
huh?
come
That's what
back.
they say.
But yeah, that first year, I think you just have so many eyes on you. And I think that's also part of the pressure that my brother felt. He was a very, very, again, I mean, you always talk about the people who passed away like they were like the best thing ever.
Yeah, no, it's
But he was an asshole for sure. But he really was a really gifted kid. Like he was pretty, he had charisma, he was talented, he was very extremely athletic. He was he was the shit. I don't know if I can swear on this
yeah. You
podcast.
do whatever you want.
He was just the coolest and I wish that wasn't coming from me. I wish that was coming from someone else, but like truly he was just like, if he was wearing these shoes, his friends would all buy him. Like he was awesome. And but I think with people who are like that, and then on top of that, he's a kid who lost his mom.
Right.
So he had so many eyes on him and so much pressure to succeed and that he put on himself, and I think he wanted to prove so many people wrong or right or whatever it was. He had this idea in his brain that he had to figure everything out right then and there, and he lost, I always, even though it's the same mom, but he lost his mom when he was 11, and that's very difficult and weird and it's a very strange age. You were 12, so it's like that age men, or you're a boy going in, how to navigate that is just so strange and people don't talk about that, and how that affects your mental, and it's different for guys and girls. But after he passed away, I felt like I started to understand the pressure he felt in a strange way because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm graduating high school in 6 months. I need to figure everything out. I need to, and I was so angry at the support and the distance. Like it was like, but how I got past that, I think I just started to feel more, I think it was just time. I started to just appreciate the people. I realized that the people who were showing me kindness, it was, I needed that, and I didn't know how to accept that love.
You ever think, it's just spitballing, I'm not telling you what anything was, but you mentioned you feel like you didn't get that. You didn't have that mother's love after school anymore. You know what I mean? You tap into what your relationship is like, but at 9, you lost your mother's love. And then all of a sudden, maybe you're getting this love from other people and it's not your mom. You know what I mean? I don't know if that has any trajectory.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
like a
Oh
weird, a
my
weird angle to
gosh,
look
yeah.
at it. I just don't know if that has
I
any
still,
correlation.
I still struggle with that.
Is
Like,
that actually, that makes sense what I said?
yeah, yeah. I feel like, you realize stuff more as you get older, and at 9 I didn't understand what had happened, you know? And again, I think that's why I loved the sympathy I got from people, because it gave me attention. But it's like I grew up with my dad. You know, I grew up with my dad, and he's the best person in the world. I love him so much. He's the strongest man I know. He's hilarious. He has joy. I don't know how.
Right? Yeah, his
He
mother and
amazes
son.
me. But losing my mom that young, it was like you start to look for it in other people and other things, and you don't realize it. So it's like when you have your mother, it's like you have that mommy, you have that, I'm proud of you, you're good at this, this is great, this is amazing, they care about things, you know what I mean? Like they tuck you in at night, they want to listen to you cry, they want to know what your friends are up to, they buy you things. Like this is so strange, like I learned hygiene from my friends. Like, it's so weird, but it's like I was 9 years old. Like, I didn't know how to, I'm supposed to like wash or take a shower and use antibacterial soap.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it
Yeah.
was like, that's why I don't feel clean after a shower. It's like, it's very strange navigating. It's like I had to teach myself how to dress, and people usually pick these things up from their mother. But yeah, I think I started replacing that attention and love, because also it's like my family members were going through things themselves. Like my dad, like he had to take care of himself, so that he didn't neglect us at all. He's an amazing father,
Right.
but he was going through, looking back, he was very quiet in my childhood until I reached probably until like a couple years ago.
Like quiet in expressing or quiet just in general?
I think that he's more outgoing. I don't know if that's because I've gotten older and we've become more friends now that I'm like an adult kind of, but he is so outgoing and has the best personality ever.
I love that.
And looking back at whenever I was like 11 or 12, and I was like, whoa, he was so quiet.
Now understanding it from this lens, yeah.
Yeah, and you start to see him as like a real person, you know?
Yeah, I could really, I've gotten to those points, had those moments of looking back at what my mom was doing. I was like, I have flashbacks of certain things, and looking back now that I understand it,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, my mom was just,
She was dealing with stuff.
she was dealing with stuff, and she didn't
Yeah.
want, she wanted to stay strong for us, and
Yeah.
only show us so much. Like I've seen her, I've seen some emotional moments, of course. There's only so much she can keep from us,
Yeah.
but she was doing it from a form of protecting and shielding us from that. And I remember this is when I got old. This is years later, I guess, when I was maybe 16, 17. I don't know what it was. I would leave and to go see friends. I would go downstairs in the basement to let my mom know, and she'd just be sitting downstairs by herself. Just check on her, say goodbye, go, and then I'd leave. But then I learned that she told me down the road, that's when when she was alone in the basement, we would leave. That's when she would just like let it all out and just like do it without us knowing.
That had to have broke your heart.
Yeah, it still does.
Yeah.
It still does.
I can't even imagine. So you have how many siblings?
I mean, you've been through. So you can imagine. You can imagine in some capacity. You know what I mean? But yeah, I got two older sisters, and I'm the baby. So it's my mom, my sisters. But
Yeah.
I hear your story, then I try to correlate. Just a lot of differences, but similarities, and a lot of brief experiences. And what you said was like, yeah, he was going through it, and then I think the same thing. You have your family's going through. That's why it's individual. Like even if you're doing it together as a family, it's still individual because you're the daughter, he's the husband and
Yeah.
father, and it's just different roles and different dynamics, different times and ages. There's so many variables that correlate to how we go through this, and then it just makes it even more interesting when you start thinking about how did your family heal it? How did your dad deal with it?
Yeah.
Let alone you, and then he's got to look after you, but he's got to look after himself, and you're just trying to grow up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
what was that dynamic between you and your family during these times that you remember?
I'd say with my mother, again, we were kids. So it's like if cats started falling from the sky, it'd be normal. You know what I mean? Like we were so young that my mother was gone for a year before she passed away. She like, usually the dad leaves, my mom left.
Okay.
And I remember being like, what the hell is going on? And, but I was still like, she had bipolar.
And that's why she was gone. Or do you see a lot of that?
I
If you
saw
remember.
some stuff, not an immense amount, but she was not herself at all. I don't know what happened. I don't know what, and I will like try and pry and ask my dad, but at the end of the day, that's his memories and for him to know, and I don't think he wants us to see her in that light anyway. But when she passed away, or she was gone she left in March of 2012. So I was 8, and she was, out being cray. And my dad would make us call her like every night. My siblings were like, no, like she's pissing us off. And then she came back. She was home for 2 weeks, and then she passed away. But after that, again, it was normal. And then I don't think it really hit me until honestly, until probably a year ago after my brother passed away. I started to look at my siblings and my family and my dad very differently, where me and my dad actually had this, how me and you keep going back and forth, we're like, what, this happened to me, like joking about it. Me and my dad were, oh my gosh, I was home. I don't get to see him often enough, but we were cracking up. We were just hanging out in the living room and doing that. He was like, well, I lost my wife and my son. And I was like, well, I lost my mom and my brother.
Yeah, that's funny.
But it was like hilarious because we were like, it's not a competition. But I was trying to explain to him that like, it's hard for him to like, he had like a perfect childhood. Like he was star athlete, went to college for sports, met his dream girl, got the job, been there since he was 23, built a house, had 4 healthy children. Everything in his life has been perfect until my mom passed away. And it doesn't make it any easier, but I think that also having that backbone, he's a strong man, he has a good job, he has, he was nobody's equipped for that. But I think that it was a bit, not saying it was any easy, it was harder for him. Again, not comparable, but just different.
Yeah, different.
But I try to tell him all the time, I'm like, you have no idea. He just lost his mom too, and me and my sisters were like, let us know if you need anything. My grandma, I love her so much. Her name was Jude. But at the end of the day, like at that age, it's a celebration of life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
100%.
Like she had a beautiful life. She had kids, her kids had kids. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, my humor is horrible.
No, you're right on par. Believe me, you're on the right podcast.
But anyway, but yeah, he, in one way, I was trying to explain to him, I'm like, in times where he's hard, again, he's a boy, so he's hard on us and wants us to be successful and happy and healthy and safe. But I'm like, you have no idea what it's like to navigate that while being a kid. I wasn't even 18, But then I also look at my dad and I'm like, his entire life fell apart. He had a beautiful family, and now he has to it's like learning how to walk again. And he didn't have the tool. I have these tools for the rest of my life. His brain was fully developed, everything, he had to start over in a sense, But then I look at my sisters, like my older sister, for example, and seeing how it affected her. And I'm like, she was, I believe, 13 when my mom passed away. And then it was 2 weeks before her 21st birthday, my brother passed away. And I'm like, okay, so mine was before 18. She was before 21. My little sister, she's my baby. I love her. She was 12 when my brother passed away. She was 3 years old when my mom passed away. And it's just, though it is the same, it's even like we're joking between me and you, it's not comparable. It's not even comparable between me and my siblings and my dad. Like everybody was at a different age and you go through different things. And it's interesting watching everyone navigate. Everyone deals with things different too. I'm the most emotional out of all of them. Like losing my brother affected me very physically, which we'll talk about that in a little bit. But it is strange how, especially mixed with personality. And do you know the book, The Body Keeps the Score?
I know of it, never read it.
You got to read it.
My sister
It's
told
so
me to read
good.
that.
It's so good. Even if you don't agree with parts of it, but it basically is explaining trauma and how it reorganizes your nervous system. And a lot of times people think, oh, I have bipolar or I have ADHD, but like really it's because you drink coffee all day and you are addicted to nicotine and you drink on weekends and you smoke weed and that restricts blood flow to your brain. And then doctors are telling you need to take this medication. When in reality, it's just because you haven't worked through your trauma. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But again, the trauma never really leaves you. It reorganizes your nervous system. It's such a crazy book. You got to read it. But a lot of times people are getting misdiagnosed and think that they have a mental illness when really they're just traumatized, and that's okay.
Yeah, I don't, and I'm not a doctor,
I'm not either at
but
all.
I've heard and read and talked to people that say very similar things. I want to read that book, but I do
Yeah.
think a lot of that whole system wants to put titles on things just so they can get the
Yeah, it's a money
every
thing.
month keep getting
It's
those pills, keep getting those
capitalism.
fucking
Yeah.
pills. We
But
don't.
then those doctors aren't wrong because they're being taught to
Yes,
diagnose, you know?
100%. It's not necessarily the
Yeah.
evil doctor. I think it starts from the top, but that's a whole nother
Whole different
angle.
conversation. But anyway.
But no, in relation to the body, yeah, the body does keep the score,
Yeah.
and sometimes I think, especially if it's built up years down the road, if it's something that we had our experiences young that we don't handle it through these years, and by the time I'm 25, I may have something going on in my body physically that it could be acute or not that just is from that. I mean, how are we supposed to know?
Yeah.
Without thinking about it and taking that path. It's just, but yeah, have witnessed and seen how it can physically manifest in so many ways until we work that out. And then the
Yeah.
question is, how do we work that out? What does working it
You
out
have to
mean?
like find a resolution, but what does that even mean?
Yeah,
You know?
And again, I think at a young age, you had to figure things out. Like you're at that point as a kid, like you barely even know what being angry means, and now you got to work through these feelings that are completely foreign to you. Like you don't even know what it is, and you have to figure it out. And that's
Yeah.
why the silver lining of it all, even though I'm sure you take both of them back for the lessons, it's like like you said, you have all these for the rest of your life, and they are applicable across the board to so many things that we might, and will go through for the rest of
Yeah.
our life.
Yeah.
And so it's just not the answers, but every time something happens in my life, I do feel like I have these little different tools in my tool belt that help me get through it.
Yeah.
And it's still figuring things out, of course, and how to use the tool in this angle, in this situation. But you had to grow up a little faster.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You were forced to grow up a little quicker
Yeah.
than most people.
Yeah. I'd say like just not even in, again, a whole different conversation, but say that to say, I just feel like, which is why I love that you do this podcast, because I feel like trauma in that sense and grief, because that is a trauma,
Yeah.
isn't talked about enough in a way of like how normal it is, of how much it affects you. Back to the conversation we were having in the beginning, you know what I mean? Like it really is, people, it's so normal to go through that amount of pain, you know? And it affects every area of your life, you know?
Every area, again, from who I am to how I feel, that, every single aspect. Again,
How
back
you
to
talk to yourself, how you talk to other people, what you
patience.
pursue in your life, you know what I
Everything.
mean? Yeah.
But I want to ask you, like, through your experiences and having they're very abrupt and shocking events, did that have any impact on your perspective of how things can just get rattled on a time-to-time basis, like how things should just happen, and like from the old cliche of shit happens?
Yeah.
But you experienced it at such a young age in such an abrupt way and quick change, like, oh my God, this can happen to me. Did that take you down any other specific path or perspective in life? Meaning, did it make you more fearful or more grateful in any capacity?
I think both. I think it's made me a lot more grateful for life, and I think that I look at things and people differently than most, and I feel like I feel a deep sense of how precious life is. But again, back to the like nervous system thing, it's hard to calm yourself down and being like, wait, I don't need to be in survival mode. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like you're constantly, there's so much chaos, and learning to be like, to let that go is, I have so many things I want to share. I keep forgetting your question. Can you repeat your
Yeah,
question?
no, I
again?
forgot. Now I'm listening so deep. I'm like, what the hell did I ask? No, I was just asking because I'll reframe it just because I thought like that, like from my personal experience to try to make it relatable. My dad died in a terrorist attack with a plane flying in his building, and 3,000 people died. It's just ridiculous by nature. So at a young age, when I think I thought about it, like, oh shit! Not only can my loved ones die, that can happen.
So, dude, wait, also,
know
don't
what I
you
mean?
feel like you're 12 years old and you're like obsessed with death?
Yeah, I used to.
Like, what's that all about? I was 9 and I'm falling asleep at night like, am I gonna die whenever I go to bed? Like, you're not supposed to be thinking about death at that age.
No, I mean, yes and no. I think not as much as perhaps we were going down the rabbit hole, but I think some contemplation, sure, I think this should be acknowledged. But the whole point of what I'm trying to say is like it just made me realize, oh, almost anything, this crazy shit can happen.
Yeah,
This like
anything can
crazy
happen.
ass shit can happen. You learn that at a young age.
Yeah.
So I think it could take you being the general you or me, it could take you down a path of fear, like, oh fuck, the shit can just go awry. I'm gonna hang on to things. I'm gonna hang on to my loved ones. I'm gonna be worried and this, that for the rest of my life. Or you can let the grip loose a little bit and realize, oh no, anything that happened, everything's impermanent.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be more grateful for every moment that I have with X, Y, Z and doing this because I know it can disappear.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's those two paths that we can teeter back and forth on. I'm just curious if you've ever thought about it.
Yeah, it's even made me grateful for like the emotions. We were talking about that earlier. It's like it's the human experience, you know what I mean? To go through all of it, the rage, the bliss, the happiness, the sadness, and then you come out of it and you're like, I can't believe I was ever that sad. You can't remember it because you're not there.
Right.
But I think it's definitely changed my perspective on so much. I'd say the biggest one is I touched on this a little bit earlier, but yes, made me appreciate things so much more. I think it's also made me a bit more easygoing. And then on top of that, I think it's given me the blessing of not caring as much. And I'm kind of just like, whatever, I'm just going to have fun in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I'm
yeah.
like, I'm going to pursue what my dreams are. And like, you have less fear I do at least,
Yeah, I
of
get
like, you know what, like, might as well just do what I actually want to do in life,
Yeah, I can relate to that. I think,
But
especially in my family, I feel like I'm the black sheep of just like going to do things.
yeah, it just changes you, and I always think, I'm like, I wonder if my mom was here, maybe I would have went to college. If my brother was here, I wonder what I would be doing. But I'd say the biggest one is little story. So after, again, I talked about like that first year after my brother had passed away. This is what I mean whenever I was saying I feel like my grief is a bit more contained. And I'm a very sensitive person. I'm an artist, okay? So I feel everything very, very, very deeply, whether that's good or bad. And I cry and we'll get over it in 2 seconds. But the year after my brother passed away, I was like, I'm a freaking gangster. Like, I didn't feel anything. Like, I was like, I'm good. Like, I was completely fine. And I was kind of mad at myself because I was like, am I not dealing with this? But then I was like, you know what? Like, maybe I just am so strong. Like, maybe I just am really like, I'm awesome. And a year after he passed away, I still to this day do not know what happened. I could not find a good therapist or doctor or whatever. I lost 30 pounds in a month.
Wow.
I couldn't eat. Like, and I wasn't because I like was trying to lose weight or had body issues at all. It was like I had so much anxiety. I didn't realize I wasn't eating. And whenever I would try to, I wanted to throw up. Like, I had so much anxiety. I couldn't sleep. I got obsessed with why. Like, and I was looking for answers, and I was obsessed with the death of my brother. And again, I'm 18 years old. I just graduated high school, and I'm like a mess. Like, I cut my hair off. Like, I was like really going through it, and I was just looking for answers. And so many things go through your mind, and I tried to keep him here as much as I could during that phase. And I started talking to him all day and like just was going through a lot until I finally was like, my friend's mom, she literally saved my life. She was like, you need to take care of your body. Like, you need to eat and you need to sleep. And that was the toughest shit I've ever been through in my life, was going through that at 18. I literally couldn't be around people. I would get immense anxiety in a group full of people. It was very strange. Like, I couldn't do dim lighting. Like, if this was 4 years ago, I couldn't sit here having this conversation because we're making eye contact. That was a thing for me. I couldn't go to dinner. I started experiencing panic attacks. Like, I thought I was dying. Like, I needed to go to the hospital right now. My heart's beating so fast. And I was like, I need to take care of myself differently. So I got myself on a sleep schedule and got myself on a meal plan. which was it was so exhausting. I couldn't work anymore. Like I was waitressing, and as equally as I was like, you know, self-sufficient and running around all day and anxious and, you know, blasting music, it just as high as it went just as low, you know. And for months I'm like hyperventilating in my room at 2 a.m, wondering, like Googling, like I got just as depressed. Like I was like, why can't I hold a conversation with someone? You need dopamine to have a conversation, you know. I didn't know how to laugh. I was like, I'm stuck like this. I couldn't do anything. Like for 2 or 3 months, I, you know, gained all the weight back and I was fine, but all I could do was sleep. I would take melatonin when I woke up in the morning to go back to bed because I didn't want to be awake. But I was like, what? Like, am I ever going to be okay again? And I got diagnosed with PTSD. But that was the hardest shit I've ever been through in my life, was going through that a year after. And I'd say the biggest push of why I feel inclined to share now is that, like, I didn't have anyone to look to, and my other siblings, they, not saying it was any easier for them. Everyone deals with things differently, but for me, losing Drew affected me very physically, and I couldn't control it, and my body forced me to deal with it, and I had to face the demons that I had right then and there. But that slowly, it got better, and I don't know why. I don't know what it was, but I think I just faced a lot of really scary stuff that I was scared to look at within myself, like struggling with blaming myself that he wasn't here anymore, with you know, whatever it was. And and then I was even more angry with myself, like, why can't I be a regular 18, 19-year-old kid? Like, I want to talk to boys, and like I was so depressed, and then on top of that, I was angry at myself for being like that.
That's just compounding.
It was never ending, and I couldn't recognize myself in the mirror. I had no personality. I couldn't do anything, and then I got to a point where I literally accepted it, and I was like, this is me. This is me for the rest of my life.
And you said this was a year after?
Yeah.
This really started
Took
happening
a
a
year.
year.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm sorry if you said it, but did you acknowledge, did you even have the thought that this is due to my grieving, or you thought it was a little bit or all of it? You knew it was the grieving.
I think my friend's mom, her name's Jen, but she was the one who really helped me through this a lot. And yeah, I knew I knew something was wrong, and I knew that it was from that, but I couldn't accept. Again, I was so embarrassed by how much pain I was in and how much I was going through. I didn't want anyone to know.
Right.
You know? But I was so tight with her that she helped me through so much. And I knew it was because of that, but I also was so afraid of something being wrong with me, and, you know, struggling with, like, my mom was bipolar. So I was like, oh my gosh, what if I have an issue?
Right.
That sounds like a death sentence to me. You know what I mean? Like it was way too much for me. I was a kid. I had no idea what was going on with me. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know how to fix it, and I didn't know what to do. It was the scariest, hardest thing I've ever gone through in my life. And then to pick myself up out of that, and then contain it. Like, I feel like I processed so much in that year. And then after that year, I was mad at myself because I felt like I just wasted a year.
Well, yeah.
Of, like, being so sad.
When the hell does this end?
I'm like, when does this end? When does this end? And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm behind. Like, I know, like, I'm like, my friends are, like, doing this, and this, and I could be so much farther in my career. And I feel like the anger really just lingered for a really long time. And I finally got to a place, probably like a year and a half ago, where I finally started to feel like I'm good.
Like baseline almost.
I'm okay. Yeah. And that pain and anger and sadness will never go away. But I was so embarrassed by how much pain I was in. And I feel like people don't realize how normal that is. You know what I mean? And I think, again, everyone deals with things differently, and it may not be that extreme. And I don't think it necessarily should be. But even now, it's intimidating sharing it because I'm afraid you're going to be like, oh my gosh, she really took that hard. But I did. You know what I mean? Like,
You went through it.
but I think back to your initial question, sorry, I just went on a tangent, but you were like, how does that affect, how you look at things different? It changed everything for me. It changed my empathy and my patience for myself. That was like the biggest thing I learned during that period, was to be patient with myself, and that I don't have anywhere to be and I don't have anyone to impress. And I had to heal those parts of me, and I had to face it. And I'm not gonna be able to do what other 18-year-olds are doing right now because I've gone through different things than most 18-year-olds. I can't drink the way my friends can drink. I'll black out. You know what I mean? Like, I can't, at that time, or I can't party like these people. They want to go and have fun. Like, I don't, it just was different
You're in
for me.
totally different place.
Yeah, mentally. And I didn't even recognize it until after, but it changed my relationship with myself and how I speak to myself, but it also changed how I think I treat other people and how I care for other people. Whenever you start to battle with stuff like that yourself, and I looked at my brother and my mom different, I was like, if I went through that, and that was a result of grief, and that was a result of love with nowhere to go. And on top of that, I don't know why that affected me like that, but it did.
Why you had that physical reaction?
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if it's anything to do with, because you said when your brother passed, you're like, oh, I'm strong, I got this, and you kind of didn't react as much as maybe as you thought you would. So I wonder if that just has to do with just kind of, you're just
holding it in.
Holding it in, and then it manifests.
It's like your brain protecting you from like that.
That's the ironic part. It thinks your brain. I always said this.
It gives it to you all at once.
Yeah, I've said this multiple times, but just for the context, like when I first came home from school and I saw the footage of the towers go down for the first time, I remember looking at it, and then I broke down and everything blacked out, and I was like, I don't remember anything right after that. And I think it was my brain just like,
you watched it on the TV.
Yeah, I mean, I was in school. My family kept me in school, and I think it was understandable. Like, they don't know what's going on. They're gonna bring me in while the towers are on fire and like try to explain to me. They're just like, keep David in school. He's safe. We'll get him when the school day's over. And at that time, when I got back, it was all done. The towers were down. It was happening when I was trying to figure out what was going on while I was in school. So it was all. That's the weird part for me. It was all happening. I had no idea what was going on. Then by the time I got home from school, it was already done. So it was just a replay on the TV. So when I went to the TV, they were trying to keep me from it, but I weaseled my way through, saw it, and then blacked out. Like I just remember crying and then don't remember anything. My point to what you were saying is it's like your brain's protecting you because it's like system overload. This is too much, but it's pretty much, you got to figure this out at some point though. Like right now, this is too much right now.
Yeah.
There's like put a little too much hot sauce on your meatballs, but it's after that, oh, the fuck that means.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
No, it's real.
And it's just like
way too much hot sauce.
Way too much hot sauce that I've never done on meatballs before, but you know what I mean?
I'll try it out later today.
Yeah, perfect. 10. Yeah, it's just like it's trying to protect you then, but it's gonna fuck you up later if you don't work it out.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if that's what you went through, where you handled it and maybe you just had to at that time, and then it came out, and then you had to handle it again. But you're figuring it out. You're a young girl, let alone if even an adult had to go through that.
Yeah, I mean, grief isn't black and white. It never goes away. It continually changes you over time. But yeah, I think it changed my perspective of so much, how I treat other people, how I love other people, how I don't know, I feel like I have way more empathy for people whenever they're explaining they're, going through something, or they, are dealing with stress, or they have anxiety, or like even little stuff. Like I used to be so anxious when I would go to dinner that I would be on my phone. It wasn't because I didn't want to be present, but I couldn't be there, It was like I was overstimulated. I don't even know why. I had so much anxiety. But now it's like if one of my friends is like on their phone, I'm like, hello, I'm trying to talk to you. But then it's like if they still don't get off their phone, I'm like, maybe you just never know.
I don't know. Maybe
you literally never know what someone's going through.
Maybe they're sending some formula that's going to save the world, and that's why they're texting.
You have no idea.
Yeah. No idea. So
that's why it's just so important to never judge someone. Or I'd say another thing even is like, if someone's like an asshole to you, like in the coffee shop in the morning or something, it's like, I don't know. I always think to myself, like, someone being a dick, like, it's not a personality trait. You weren't born like that. You know what I mean? Like, something's wrong. And not in a way where you should, like, look at them and be like, feel bad, but it's like whenever someone's like an asshole to me or like isn't very kind or something, and it feels personal, but I'm like, this has nothing to do with me.
Dude, I'm the same way. Like, at this point in my life, I think I said it earlier already. It's very hard for me to take anything personal.
Yeah.
Obviously, if someone's being an asshole, you could just hold your ground and whatever, say something. But for the most part, especially if it's a straight, I'm like, all right, that was kind of dickish. Maybe he's an asshole. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's having a bad. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
like,
you have no idea.
You could just move on from it.
Yeah.
Especially if it's something petty. Like, people really like to get pissed off at petty shit, especially traffic and this and that.
I don't have road rage either.
I have zero
I
road
don't
rage.
get it.
I'm like, damn, like, maybe instantaneous. Like, damn, that was a fucked up cutoff right there. But all right, continue on. You're good.
Like,
We're
driving's
safe.
a hard task.
Yeah.
You know? I get it. It's all right. My little sister like freaks out. I'm like, dude, we're all gonna get there.
Yeah, we're gonna get there. And if you're in a rush, then you should have left 10 minutes earlier.
Exactly. Just be late. Just be late.
I've accepted that. 'Cause I used to get a little, because I don't like being late, so I feel bad. But at some point, if I know I'm gonna be late, I guess I could drive 200 miles an hour, but I just accept I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna tell you sorry, and I show up and it's fine.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's definitely put a coat over my life in literally everything.
Every single
and plus,
way.
this podcast has helped me a lot. Not necessarily my grief, but just talking to people like you. I learn from you. I learn from people I talk to, and this conversation of death becomes a conversation about life, how to apply it to every aspect of our life. It's not just going to hopefully give people tools that are going through it. Hope it helps, but I'm trying. It's just a conversation that is so applicable to the way we live our life.
Yeah.
Whether it's contemplation, whether it's awareness, whether it's just the idea of impermanence. Understand that it's just, let's just enjoy it now. Like last night again. Maybe it's I don't know, there's something in the water in Brooklyn, but it was
love Brooklyn.
It was fun. It was fun, but it was just this conversation with my buddy again and this random person we met. And we just went down this rabbit hole. I was like, yeah, this is all we have right now. I like, grabbed my buddy's hand. It was like a meditation. All was going on in the bar. I was like holding something. This is what I could feel your hand now. This is all we got. Like right now, you and me.
Yeah.
You and me talking. This is it.
So real.
This is it. And it's
you got to give it your all. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay to check out. We're human. I'm not saying you got to be like a fucking Buddhist monk to like be attentive. It's gonna happen. You can check out. It's fine.
Wait, that's so real. I feel like it even getting into this conversation, like it makes me more honest with people. Like how people are like, oh, life's short. No, but I really take that so serious.
Which part? Did life short?
No, it's just like you are more honest with people. Like you tell them you love them and you try to be as present as possible. And it's like, you might as well just do it right now. Cause like you said, all we have is right now. And
all you have is right now. I don't know what lesson, how you could have learned it any stronger than what you've gone through. And, you know, it's impressive the way you think and carry yourself at such a young age. And obviously you've been through the ringer. I'm sure it's still a process. It's always a journey and a kind of a forever thing. Yeah. I think, you know, but evolves, does get better. It's impressive that you've even said that.
Thank you.
But I do want to thank you for the opportunity to share your story. And before we do get out, if there's anything that you feel like you didn't get off your chest that you want to, or nothing at all, but feel free to.
Oh my gosh, I feel like there was so much I wanted to say and it all just left right whenever I got here. I feel like I don't even know if I worded everything right.
I think you were great. You're fine.
No, I don't know. I'm glad that you do this podcast because I feel like it makes, again, the conversation of impermanence and grief and how normal it is, a bigger conversation. I think it needs to be, you know? And yeah, I'd say just my biggest message is that like, just be patient. You know, being patient with myself got me through the most. I don't really know if I'm supposed to say something inspirational.
No, nothing inspirational
here right
at all.
now, but
no. I didn't mean to add so much pressure there. I just want to make sure. I know there's a lot to say, so I just want to make sure there was.
Wait, give me a second to think.
Take your second.
Okay.
I'm just gonna look around.
Okay.
This is your big moment. This is like an Oscar speech.
Yeah, give me a second. I got nothing.
I think you said it all. You're good.
I think whatever was meant to come out came out.
You could have just said thank you, peace out, leave me alone. Whatever, it doesn't matter. There's no rules here. This is not Oprah. But no,
I don't know. I'm appreciative for being on and yeah, I just think it's a beautiful thing that you have this because it's so important to share and not be afraid of going through these things. I feel like everybody needs to be more human.
That's it, man. We just gotta go through things, and everyone's going through something, whatever that is. And I just I don't want to take it all too seriously. I
Yeah.
want to enjoy it. I want to be respectful, compassionate, loving as best I can. I'm not gonna be perfect. There's no such thing. It's part of the journey. Yada yada yada. Like, what are we supposed to do?
Yeah.
No one knows.
Yeah.
We say we do. I know you said some great things that are gonna be helpful for a lot of people, but it's like I just understand that we're all figuring it out.
Yeah. Nobody knows what's
Be
going
a
on.
I mean, maybe some do, and and we think those people are crazy.
Do you
Who
think
knows?
that people do know what's going on?
I think maybe some people know some shit and those are probably people that we think are the absolute loony bins. Maybe they know something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, the dudes on the street in Brooklyn probably know.
Yeah, I saw. Brooklyn's fun. Okay, we're not even talking about Brooklyn. I don't know why I was so excited about Brooklyn last night, guys. I appreciate y'all being on the show. Katie, thank you so much for doing this
Thank you for having
and sharing
me.
all you've been through. It's already it's inspirational, and I want to thank you for your time. And for anyone that wants to find her, I'll share. If you want to share your socials, it will be
Yeah.
there. If not, it
Are
won't
you
be
gonna
there
put it on the screen?
on the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, the socials.
Is it a video?
It's the video. Yeah, I mean, there's
It's right here.
Yeah, if you want to share your social, feel free, but it's going to be a link
Wait,
too.
can you put like a thing right here? I'm
Yeah.
just gonna hold it.
Put it there.
I'm holding it.
So her socials are in
It's
her
right
hands if
here.
you're watching on YouTube or Spotify. If not, then it'll be in the show notes. Thank you so much. Peace out, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Dead Talks. Please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and also the notification bell. That'll give you updates as to when we post a new video, more episodes, and more content in general. We are streaming on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and all that. And also find us on Instagram at Dead Talks Podcast or www.deadtalks.net. Thank you so much.